the zoo's hospital, and we just saw I believe it was a tree kangaroo in that cage as we walked in. Now we're going to speak with Dr. Julie, and she's going to give us an idea of what the zoo hospital is like.
Okay, so my name is Dr. Julie Napier. How many of you guys have been to the zoo? Y'all been? Yes, you guys are real familiar with it. Anyway, I'm the senior veterinarian here at the Henry Dorley Zoo, and we actually have 4 veterinarians, and we take care of the largest animal collection in the United States. We're bigger than the San Diego Zoo, bigger than the San Diego Wildlife Park, bigger than the Bronx. We're the biggest number of animals. We have 24,000 specimens. It's 24,000 individual species, individual animals that we take care of. That includes all the fish and the bats and the mice. And you might say to yourself, yeah, but that's a lot of fish. Fish take up a lot of time. I probably spend more time on fish than I do on our rhinos. So the little guys take up a lot of time, but we have 24,000 specimens, and that includes the Wildlife Safari Park. How many of you been out to the Wildlife Safari Park across from the SAC? Okay, so we take care of all of those animals too. So we're very, very busy. So we have 4 veterinarians, and you guys know what a veterinarian does? You're pretty familiar? You have some dogs that go?
Literally, if like your dog is sick, you go and go check out your dog from animals, and they find out that you're sick, but I should see your dog or here.
Exactly, and you know what? You don't just take your pets to the veterinarian when they're sick. You take them when they're healthy, so they stay healthy. So you take them in to get their shots, you take them in to get their teeth cleaned, you also take them in when they get sick. But what we do here is just what your veterinarian does. It takes care of your cats and your dogs. We make sure the animals are healthy, and we want to make sure they stay healthy. So all of our animals, about 9,000 of them, we take a look at about every 2 years, because we can't do them every year because there aren't enough veterinarians. So we do a physical exam on all of our animals, and just like your dogs and cats get shots and they look at their teeth, we do the same thing, except there's a big difference. In zoo medicine, most of our animals we have to put to sleep because they're not very cooperative and they have big teeth and claws. Your dogs and cats will sit on the table for the veterinarian, but our patients aren't that cooperative. When you look at a tiger, it has to be under anesthesia. You have to dart him to make him go to sleep. And I'll show you guys some darts here in just a minute of what we use to put our animals to sleep. But most of our animals we can't touch when they're awake because they're not cooperative. They're wild animals. They're wild animals. They're not pets. We don't treat them like pets, but they're animals that we take care of, and they're animals that their keepers take care of. Just like you guys own your cats and dogs, the keepers out here, the animal keepers that you see in the buildings, cleaning and feeding and giving water to the animals, they feel very strongly about their animals. They really like their animals a lot. So they're the ones that come and tell us, hey, I think something's wrong with my animal. And we listen to them because they really know what they're doing. So we do physical exams about every 2 years. We do a vaccination program. And then we also look at the older animals, the younger animals, the animals that might be sick. We look at all the new babies. And remember when we used to have a nursery out here? You know why we don't have a nursery anymore? For a couple reasons. First of all, there's a lot of babies all over the zoo. We want you to see the babies with their moms, because that's the most important place for them to be, is with their moms. Secondly, and this is a great way for you guys to get educated, you can get almost any animal you want off the internet. But there are more tigers and more big cats owned by people in their homes in the state of Texas than there are in all the zoos in the country. There's about 16,000 cats in private ownership in the state of Texas. They don't make good pets. So we stopped having a nursery because people would come to the nursery and say, gee, that looks neat, I think I want to get one of those. And people would go out and get them, and we don't want them to do that because they don't make good pets. Dogs and cats are great pets, even some snakes, rabbits, guinea pigs, gerbils, but tigers and bears and camels and kangaroos don't make good pets. And you can get all of those on the internet. So we want to make sure we educate people that they're not good pets, and that's one of the reasons that we closed our nursery. Okay? We want people to see the animals with their moms out in the zoo. You guys have any questions so far? Yes, ma'am.
Do you check the baby more often than the other animals to see if they're...
Only if they're sick. We still take babies up here, we just don't do it in front of the public, only if they're really, really sick. You guys might have heard a story about the lion cat. Remember there were 5 lion cubs down in our zoo, but one of them was almost dead when she was born. So we brought her up here and we kept her for a week. We fed her on bottles and gave her medications and fluids to get her all better, but as soon as we could, we put her back down with her 4 brothers and sisters. Now she's with her 4 brothers and sisters, and she's with her mom, and that's exactly where she should be. But we only pulled her out because she was sick.
What was her name?
Her name, I'm not sure which one she is now because the public named them. I don't know which one she is. But I think her name starts with Z.
Zuri.
Zuri, that's Zuri. Zuri's the hospital. Yes, ma'am. It depends. First of all, you got to get them away from the mom. So that's one thing. Secondly, they're small and they're tiny, but they're also very delicate. So we want to make sure that we handle them very carefully and get them back to their mom. And what we'll normally do before we get them back to their mom is we'll take some poop or something that smells like mom and we'll rub it all over the baby so we get the baby back so the baby doesn't smell like us. Because we don't want mom to go, ugh, my baby smells funny. She'd rather have a baby that smelled like her poop than one of us. So we want the baby to go back to mom and have no problems come up. So they're not easier, they're more delicate, but we don't handle them as often. We do shots, we give them their shots, just like your kid would get shots. And other than that, we try and leave them alone with mom unless they're sick. Did you have a question?
Yes. Can't you own a tiger in Texas?
You can own a tiger, but when I'm saying you can't own it, you can't own it in the state of Nebraska. There's a lot of states you can own tigers. But we're trying to get people away from keeping those animals as private pets. Because you know what happens? They hurt somebody or they bite somebody and then the people can't keep them anymore and then there's no place to send them. All the sanctuaries are full. All the places, the humane societies, they don't have a facility to keep those animals. If you guys go down to our bears exhibit, you know the 2 black bears that are in there? If you go down there, there's a polar bear, and there's 2 black bears right next to the polar bear. Those guys were confiscated as cubs because someone had them in the state of Nebraska illegally, so we took them. So zoos can help, but we only have so much room. So, yes?
How do you operate on snakes?
Just like you do any other animal, you guys, if you're familiar, if any had your appendix out or had tonsils out or whatever, you go into the hospital. When you go into surgery, they put you to sleep and they put a tube down your throat to help you breathe while you're sleeping. We do the exact same thing with our animals. We put a tube down their throat. If they're venomous, you have to do it with an instrument because we can't put our fingers near their mouth. And then we just put them on the surgery table just like we would any other animal. We scrub them up and we, hey Misty, hold on just one minute. Maybe about 5 minutes. Anyway, so I'm gonna have someone bring up. Actually, you guys asked about a baby. We had to raise a baby. Do you guys know the aardvarks over in the dome? Yeah. Okay, the aardvarks, they like to have babies, but they don't like to raise them. So we raise them here in the hospital. And so maybe if you guys are really good and ask some good questions and what have you, we'll bring the baby aardvark up and we can see her. Okay. So yes. And they can't touch her because she's still healing. She broke her leg. So she's still healing. But you guys can look at her, and if you want to take pictures of her in here, you can. The one rule is, if you take pictures, you can't Facebook them. No Facebook, no Twitter. Because she's not out in the zoo and people will want to come see her. This is a special treat just for you guys. So you can't put them on Facebook and you can't put them on Twitter. You can just take pictures for your own pictures, okay? You can show it to your family, but you can't put them on the internet, okay? Trust you guys not to do that. Yes. These tags are the names of the people that work in the hospital because we have so much equipment when we go out that every time we bring our equipment back, the person who cleans it up puts their name on it so that if we have any questions, we can go to that person and say, did you do something with this? So we know who it is. So, yes, that's a water valve. It goes to, we can attach a hose to it and we can hose off animals if we need to. Yes? She was in a crate being moved and I think the crate got her. The accidents happen, you know, but she's healing beautifully. She had a big, huge surgery, and she's getting pretty good. You'll see when she comes in, she has a little sack of fluid down here, but we'll hope that will go away as she grows.
Which leg did she?
She broke her rear right leg.